Hello and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is April 1st, 2016. My name is Lynn and I'm your host. Welcome. Today we're going to make more Dear Jane blocks. In fact, I just finished this one that I started last year on the 15th of June, the same day we went and watched the lighthouse be moved up in Gay Head, and tonight I finished it by finishing appliquing 3 more points on it. And I've made a note in my book. So tonight is all about doing more appliques on a Dear Jane quilt. You can see I'm in a remote location. I'm on the vineyard, and I have so much to tell you about. I hope you're well. Pick up a project, and let's see what we can get done in 60 minutes. So there's number 1. The one I'm going to work on right now is called G5 Poof. And here is the line drawing. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm going to applique all of it on, and I'm going to applique it in yellow and green. This is what it looks like when it's done. They did the light on dark. I'm going to do this yellow and green on light. And then I have a couple of others, like last week's, oh, and it just fell out. Last week's, one of them that we did, I think it's Big Top, I need to put on the 4 little diamonds. So we'll do that if we have time. But again, if you want to do this along with me, it's G5 Poof. What an interesting name, huh? Okay, so there's that. And we have lots to talk about, like what happened on this day in history, and what we have been doing around painting, both walls and pictures, and what we're going to do this weekend. Did I talk about that? And just spend some time together. So pull out your sewing. So first off, I already drew the sort of the 4-sided bubble. I cut that out, and I drew it on the back of my green, and now I'm going to cut out and then turn under the edge for the applique. I do needle turn applique. I guess I've done the others, and I like all different kinds, but this one is the one I tend to go back to. Not that I do a lot of it. And I love to see everyone's applique. Oh, and I also want to tell you about a quilt store that we went to visit last Saturday. It was Pearl 1 Quilt 2, T-O-O, down in Rhode Island. Shout out to Christine and Jean. It was a fun time, even though I did buy yarn that I did not need. Let's see. I guess I'm going to base this. But the shop is just chock-a-block full of fabrics, yarns, kits, lots to look at, lots of inventory, a small classroom, and they had some discount fabric in their in their classroom. They had a few samples that were for sale. They also have an instructor there who does the Hoffman Challenge every year. And they literally had a wall full of her challenge quilts, which was very interesting. For those of you who may not know, and to tell you the truth, I haven't looked it up in a few years, but I think it's the same, which is Hoffman would give you a challenge fabric for the year, everyone a challenge fabric, and you had to use that fabric and maybe 2 others or a matching, but somehow you had to use that fabric in a design and then send it in, and they would vote. That was always fun to do. I did it once with a little wall hanging. I don't know if I've shown it to you. Gee, I want to say the early 1990s. And I sent it up. I still have the label on it, sending it up. I think I did send it to Keepsake Quilting. Maybe it's one of their challenges. So I'm just how am I doing it? Just basting it. And I'm kind of finger folding it as I go along and creasing it. I'm amazed at how much you can do with finger creasing. For example, these, on the G5 poof, there's like an X that goes behind the poof ball. And I could just fold over this yellow, and it just is, it's as if I went to the iron and did it. I did 4 of them. So I hope you all can hear me and can see me. The signal is usually pretty good from here at Mom's house. I'm in her kitchen, but I have been painting her shop, the inside, and I chose, actually my husband Bob and I have been, and we used a Benjamin Moore Constellation Blue. So if anyone is in front of your PC and you want to look up pictures of what that looks like, look up Benjamin Moore Constellation Blue and look at the images page, and you can see it in all different rooms. And it's pretty here. And Christine, the quilt that you have is the one that's going to go on the bed. So it's been fun. And the paint is beautiful. We had to do some Kills painting, primer. We had to do a couple of coats. And Bob, of course, did some patching of drywall and sanding it and repatching, so the walls look great. And then putting on the final blue was really fun. Okay, so now we have, but what are you all working on? I love to see your pictures. I love to get your emails. Sandra in Mississippi, I was looking at your Afghan and your bear. You're always doing something. Now, how is this positioned? Okay, the poof has a poof at the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to baste it onto here, and then I'll do the fine applique. I do hope we can get through a few of these, because as you know, I have a long way to go. Here's my Dear Jane diagram. The yellow is what I have done. I can't believe how long this takes. But it's fun. Like this one, Dee Dee's Delight, D8. You want to hear what we were doing? D8. Okay, Dee Dee's Delight. June 5th, 2015. Started this on FiberCast. Saw the Gayhead Lighthouse move this past weekend. The Gayhead Lighthouse was originally built in 1844, and it weighs 400 tons. It was moved a mere 128 yards back from the cliff, so it stands hopefully for another 150 years in Aquinnah. And it says here, I also made a note, I had a nice welcome from the FiberCast family, and Mom is improving so well. Isn't that nice? That was a year ago, or a little less than a year. And now that's done. Okay, so, did I just hear a beep? Oh, and I wanted to show you Jean's. Jean, if you're out there, hi. I wanted to show everyone the new machine Jean's been working on. Jean wrote earlier today, she says, hope you're having a great day on the vineyard. She says, I'm having fun with Kelsey. We're sewing shop samples for a friend. Ooh. And she said she finally got brave enough to bring out her Singer 301. She's had it for years, and she's loving it. She's looking forward to tonight. I'll be watching and working on a client memorial quilt. Happy FiberCast Friday. To you, too. What a great week it's been. Now, it's hard to see because it's black, but there is Jeans 301. Doesn't it sell like a dream? Oh, and speaking of which, my, oh gee, what's it called? My 1950s Toyota machine. It's not a Morse, it's some Ashton something. Ashton Sloan, whatever. Sorry, I can't remember it right now. Anyway, I really goofed up the tension, and I brought it down here, and my mother fixed it last night or the night before. So if I had wanted to, it wasn't working. Easter morning, I broke it big time. So, Jean, I'm so glad to see you have that. Probably a week ago, I would have said, oh, they're great, they never break. But clearly, I broke mine big time. But I love it, and it's now back to good. My one word of advice is be really careful twisting knobs. And I don't have a manual. But anyway, so here we go again. I'm just basting this one on, and then I'm going to baste the 4 little pieces down before I sew up the edges. Back to the subject of painting. The Constellation Blue, I bought it several months ago, and I've been interested to see how it goes, and we're still getting used to it. It looks so different in different light and at different points in the day. Like sometimes it'll look gray, and other times it will look robin's egg blue even. So that's very interesting. Okay, so now I've got this one down, and now what I'm going to do is I looked at the picture, and the cross comes out of the cricks, if that makes sense, of the poof, the indents of the poof. I'm just making this, and then I'll cut out the final size. It's been lovely all week here, except for today it started to rain. And lest you think Bob is missing band, for anyone who might be wondering, nope, he had to go back to work after he helped me for 3 days painting nonstop. He just went back, he took the dog and went back to work, and I talked to him a few hours ago, and he did say the band was coming over, and they had the full crew. No one had called in sick, which they always like to do that. Sometimes, or lately, they've been recording themselves when they're all there. Okay, I guess I don't have to be too particular when I'm basting, right? There's 2. We'll do 2 more. You know, it is amazing how much you do get done when you just sit down and do it. Don't you think? I spend more time thinking about what I'm going to do. Which brings me to my knitting projects. I needed more yarn like I did not need. I did not need more yarn, but I saw one of the scarves. This was the irony. I was telling my mother this. At the quilt shop we went to, the Pearl 2 Quilt 1. I hope I have the name right. She had one of her secrets to success, I believe. And she's been open for 2 years, and she's about to be featured in what is it, the Quilt Sampler magazine. And it's really just a chock-full shop of brand new products and fabrics and kits. And a lot of things are done up in samples. And I saw this scarf that was done up, and I'd been looking at it online, and it was, it had short rows, meaning it had chunks of color. It was a long sort of wraparound shawl, and it had chunks of color. So of course I wanted to make that. Well, then she helped me find the pattern free on Ravelry, which was a great thing. And then she proceeded to tell me I needed 3 skeins of sock weight yarn, each of which was going to be $20. And I thought, no, I don't need a scarf that badly. I'm not going to put all that money into that fabric. So I put it all away. And then I found the discount yarn, of course, for half as much. And then it wouldn't fit the pattern, the original pattern, so I had to go find another pattern. And then I bought twice as much yarn so I could make 2 scarves. I ended up spending the same amount of what I would have if I had gotten the original scarf I liked, and now I don't really have a pattern picked out yet. Classic. Ah! Jean says, knit 1, quilt 2. Thank you, buddy. Oh. Ben, if you're out there, and Violet, I'll see you this weekend. I'm going to swing by. Who else is out there? Hey, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Wendy says, hello, Lynn and everyone out there. She says, I haven't been doing any sewing this week as I have been away with my youngest son going to golf competitions. And away again for all of next week, but plan to do some hexies by the beach. Ooh. She says it's still very hot here in North Queensland. I think I'm going to really enjoy Dear Jane when I can really get into it. I'm keeping a diary too, says Wendy. Oh, that's great. Here is my small start to this challenging project. I'm doing mine in all the colors of the rainbow. Oh, hope you have a good weekend, Wendy. Oh, Wendy, those are great. Hey, and you made the 2 or you made at least 1 that we made last week. Can everyone see those? Oh, that's great. And I'm curious, Wendy, about these golf competitions. He must be a good golfer. Oh, thank you for sending that. In North Queensland, it's still very hot, but it's going to get cooler where you are, right? Margaret, she says, Maggie in New Hampshire says, hi, Lynn. I'm enjoying your Dear Jane segments. I've not yet started mine. Oh, I'm glad, because I'm glad you're enjoying them. They're different, but at least you can feel accomplished when you do one little block. Maggie says, it's taken me a while to decide on a color scheme. I know what you mean. I had to laugh when you said that you went to the shop in Rhode Island and you ended up buying yarn you didn't need. My daughter and I went to Keepsake in Center Harbor this past Wednesday, and if you know the place, there's a little yarn shop next door. Yes, the Patterns, is that what it's called? I ended up buying more yarn than I needed, and I went to the quilt shop without a game plan. Big mistake. Oh, who amongst us has not done this? I couldn't decide what to buy, so I ended up buying only a couple of yards. A wasted trip. LOL. Oh, Maggie, that's funny. And she says you're coming in loud and clear from the vineyard. Happy quilting. Another thing I said to my mother, I don't buy like that in anything else. Clothing, I never. I literally, the woman at Knit 1 Quilt 2, I had to move a couple of skeins from one bag to another. So I asked her, so I brought both bags up. Both were on sale. And she made the switch, and so now I had this nice bag of yarn. And she put the other bag down behind her, and she proceeded to ring me all up. She's just about ready to hit the total button, and I couldn't help myself, and I said, throw in that bag of yarn behind you. I never do that. Ridiculous. But it was so pretty. It was like this. It's blue. It's going to go great with blue jeans. Anyway, awesome. And I do know Keepsake. I haven't been up there in a long time. Maybe we should take a road trip. Oh, you guys are out there. Beth Beth is out there. She says hi to Fibercasters. She's in the car on the way to an oyster roast. Stop it. But I can still talk quilts. An oyster roast must be wonderful. Now let's see. Oysters are still good. January, February, March. There's an R in it, right? Oh, I don't know. Never mind. Don't even listen to me. Okay. Gotta love technology, she says. This is literally Beth Allen, who does her daily snippets online, which are great. She is in the car as she's typing this. She says, starting a new top this week, millions of half-square triangles with an applique border on the neutral squares. Lots of symbolism behind the whole thing. Y'all have a great Friday and happy stitching, Beth. Look at you go. I really like, Beth, how you are combining these bright patches with the grays around it. You did that in your last quilt. Love that. Those look like small triangles. Maybe I'm not. Oh, thanks for sharing, and have a great oyster roast. Haven't oysters, I don't know much about oysters, but I do know oysters Rockefeller my mother would make, and those were pretty good. Stephanie. This is Stephanie Elsing from Slumber Party. You're kidding! Hi, Stephanie. Don't you wish we were back at the Slumber Party? Ah, thanks for saying hi. I told you the October retreat's all sold out, so Chris and Deborah will be there. Happy birthday, Deborah. KK, Kathy Kettleson. She says, hello, hello, hello from Kathy K in Illinois. I am busy with, gosh, I don't know, I have the attention span of a 5-year-old. She says, no disrespect to 5-year-olds, none taken. I will just sit here and watch your show or sew something, maybe eat something. Who knows? Not me. Take care. KK. So glad you're on board tonight, no matter what you're doing. While I was getting ready here, before we turned the computer on, I was thinking it was so nice to sit here and get into the zen and the zone of sewing. If you haven't done it lately, turn off all your electronics and sit quietly and breathe deeply. I'm saying this because I saw Anthony Robbins do this on some TV show this week. And he was on TV, the irony. He said, put your hand on your heart, and for 2 minutes just breathe deeply. And I think his thing was think about things that are important to you or people you care about or things you care about. And it was amazing. That gave me the same feeling as sitting here before we turned on the computer, just stitching in the quiet for a few minutes. Was very nice. And look at that. Okay, so that's ready to hand applique. You know what? I'm on a roll with this kind of stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is put that aside just for a second. Hopefully you can see that. Did we lose the one that... Here's that one. I'm going to baste my triangles too. These points I had basted on a year ago. So that's good to know when you can. So now I could take something like this that I've already basted in the car with me, and it would be easy to applique. Wouldn't be easy to do this and put my turn signal on while I'm driving, however. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be driving. I wonder if my sister's out there. She might be busy. She might still be working. Oh, this will be easy. Diamonds are easy to baste. Anyway, what else was I going to tell everyone? So I'm so glad, Maggie in New Hampshire, to hear about your trip. I really went to that quilt store not intending to buy a thing. Oh, and I also bought, the cutest camper fabric to make pillowcases with. I thought it would go well in the shop. This shop that we painted blue now has a bed, a chair, fresh walls, and a whole bookcase that's cleaned off of some old, well, yeah, I guess they're old, but they're great bird reference books, whether it was Audubon bird books or decoy magazines, and they were all references that my dad had used in the shop when he carved birds or did his watercolor painting, mainly carved birds, or like he repaired a antique ship, and so he had a template in there, a miniature ship, and it may have been a weather vane. And he literally had pictures of it and templates from that. One year, a long time ago, he saw that in a newspaper, we finished a carousel horse that was broken. And my dad fixed the leg, and he sanded it, and he made it just beautiful. And then I went and painted it. And he was so good to just let me leave it. I think he went away, and he left me with, I had some green paint, some red paint, and some white paint. And I think when he left, the idea was I was supposed to paint it for Christmas. Being the creative sort, now when I think back, I wonder, what he must have thought. For some reason, I didn't paint the horse white. I painted the horse a light green. And then went around that. It would have been so pretty if I painted it white, but maybe that's why your tastes change. It was fun. It was a full-size carousel horse. I wish I had that thing now. I've tried to find the carousel that it went back to. It was Agassiz Village in Maine, and the woman, they had brought down all of these horses that needed the repair down to Wayland. They had this, you wrote in and asked, I don't know if you applied, but somehow they gave these horses to people who would volunteer to fix them. And my dad did a beautiful job fixing the hoof and, as I say, making it beautiful. Then we painted it and we brought it back and we went to a showing of all the horses under the tent over in Wayland before they went back up to the camp. And now it's since been sold and probably broken apart, I would suspect. I tried to follow the carousel, and it didn't stay at Agassiz Village very long. It was, again, sold, maybe at auction. I don't know why I thought of that. Maybe it was the color paint. Oh, I know why I thought of it, because I was telling you what was in the shop. Those are the types of things my dad would always fix sofas for people, or I think a swan for Diane Sawyer, maybe. I could be making that up, I don't know. But the local gallery here would know that he could do anything with wood. He really was a wizard. See, number 2. So, what else is going on? Oh, we're going to a chorus concert tomorrow night. It's the 20th anniversary of the Island Chorus. So we're going to go do that after dinner, and we haven't taken many walks yet because of all the painting, but maybe we can do that. Of course, it's going to snow, they say, which reminds me, which is just it feels like a prank, right? It's April. How could it snow? But they say here it might. I know that's a lot cooler than in Queensland, Wendy. Sorry. But that reminds me of what today is, which is April Fool's, and the origin of April Fool's, and I wanted to share with you what some people think the history is. And one of the theories is it has to do with the weather changing and how it's a prank. But I'll read it to you much better than I can relay it. So, this day in history, April 1st. The April Fool's tradition was popularized. According to this source, which is history.com, on this day in 1700, English pranksters began popularizing the annual tradition of April Fool's Day by playing practical jokes on each other. Although the day, also called All Fool's Day, has been celebrated for several centuries by different cultures, its exact origins remain a mystery. Some historians speculate that April Fool's Day dates back to 1582, when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Georgian calendar, as called for by the Council of Trent in 1563. People who were slow to get the news or failed to recognize that the start of the new year had moved to January 1st and continued to celebrate it during the last week of March through April 1st became the butt of jokes and hoaxes. These included having paper fish placed upon their backs and being referred to as Poisson d'Avril, or April fish, said to symbolize a young, easily caught fish and a gullible person. That's interesting. So a calendar change, and people who didn't get the calendar change and celebrated the first of the year as April 1st were made fun of. That's one thing. Historians have also linked April Fool's Day to ancient festivals, such as Hilaria, which was celebrated in Rome at the end of March and involved people dressing up in disguises. There's also speculation, and this is where the weather comes in, that April Fool's Day was tied to the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, or first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, when Mother Nature fooled people with changing, unpredictable weather. And that's what we are having here in New England right now. So, that's April Fool's Day, and there's a lot more about that too. I don't know if anyone was hoaxed today. If you were, I hope it was all in good fun. What else happened on this day? Well, back in 1946, an Alaskan earthquake triggered massive tsunami. Oh, the earthquake was in Alaska, and it went down and it killed 159 people in Hawaii in the middle of the night. Wow. There was a peace treaty on this day in 1621 between the Plymouth settlement in present-day Massachusetts and the leaders of the Plymouth colonists and the chief of the Wampanoags. Both parties promised to not doe hunt to one another. That's interesting. Was the first treaty. I'll come back to that because it looks, I tell you what, I'm supposed to hit the button that says read more, but I don't want to do that because I'm afraid I won't get back, and there was something up here that I wanted to share for all of our NASCAR fans out there. This day in history in 1993, so not that long ago, 93, 2003, 2013, 93, 2003, 2013, so 23 years ago, the Polish prince, oh, I guess it's not very good news, was killed in a plane crash. Do you remember the Polish prince? On this day in 1993, race car driver and owner Alan Kulwicki, who won the 1992 National Association of Stock Car Racing Winston Cup Championship by one of the tightest margins in series histories, is killed in a plane crash near Bristol, Tennessee, where he was scheduled to race. Wow. So for all you NASCAR fans out there, this day in history, that happened. Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his own father in 1984. Nixon signed legislation banning cigarette ads on TV and radio. Well, I'll be darned, that was 1970. That was a long time ago. So that's what happened on this day in history. Kind of interesting, huh? Boy, it's been so long since we've seen a television ad about cigarettes. I guess I can hardly remember that. I can remember cigarette ads in magazines, Camel ads. Hello. Hey, KB. She is out there. Karen says, happy weekend, everyone. Hi, all. Not once. She says, not one single April Fool's joke in Cube World today. Imagine that, she says, with her wry wit and humor. Have fun with Mom. Oh, there are all sorts of April Fool's jokes one can play in cubes. Give it a few years. Once you know your cube mates, it'll be easier. Such as, there's always the cellophaning over the door of the cube from top to bottom. Just get yourself some saran wrap and go back and forth. And so that when someone goes to the copier and then they come back, they run into the saran wrap. That's always a good one in cube land. The other one I've seen, not that I've ever participated in this, mind you. Of course, you can always go and turn everything upside down in cube land in someone's office when they go to lunch. Let's see. The list could go on. This could be fun. We'll get you well prepped up for next year. But we're so glad you're not in cube land right now. Oh, and do you have news, actually, of a quilting nature? Oh, I am so excited to get this done. Okay, so there's the third one. So I'm just rough basting it. There's the fourth one. We really, can you imagine if we can all finish our Dear Janes? We should set ourselves a goal like 2020. It really is quite a feat for anyone who has finished one. And for some of you out there who have finished more than one Dear Jane, I applaud you. There. Oh, I think I missed the last sentence of my sister's text there. I think she said hi to Mom. Okay, we'll put this down. So we have Jean using her new old machine. We have Karen in her brand new studio. We have Kelsey, who's been to Maine and back since Easter. Oh, how was everyone's Easter? I hope you all enjoyed your time. It was relatively nice weather where we were. It was a little bit cold, but we had a nice time. Okay, so that one's ready. So we have that and that. Okay. Now what I think I'm going to do is, I think I had one more that I'm going to baste while I'm on a roll. So I guess technically I can't write that I've completed any of these tonight, unless I do keep finishing them, but I can make a note that I basted them. So this, now I'm going to do K7 rows of sharing. And you know, it looks like 4 hearts put together. Again, it is K7 rows of sharing. And I'm going to do reverse applique on that one with a fabric that I got down at Knit 1, Quilt 2. It's a cafe. And I'm literally, I liked it because it's just kind of different. That's something my dear Jane is going to have fabric from many different decades. Like this, didn't we say this fabric was from the 80s or 90s? It's all good. Anyway, this one, before we went on, I drew the big rows of sharing on the back. And I'm literally, this may be a mistake. No, this will work. I'm literally going to cut out within, 3/16 of an inch. That sound right? So I want it a little bit bigger than an 1/8, but not as big as a 1/4 inch. And then I'll baste it, and then it'll be ready to needle applique. Well, Beth Allen, I think it's very interesting that you're going to an oyster roast. What a neat idea. In South Carolina. Okay. So believe it or not, that's what we wanted that to look like. And it's going to look something like that. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. Let us keep basting. Oh, can you hear the wind out there? Woo! Okay, so literally, I'm going to have to cut this a few times. It's kind of a steep curve. Let's see how this goes. So at Easter, we had 3 kids in the family getting ready to graduate. These are nieces and nephews. Graduate from high school and all going to college next year from different families. So there was lots of talk about and excitement about graduation. They're going to have a party in the backyard of where, actually, of the house where my husband grew up. His younger brother bought that house and is raising his girls there. And so they're going to put a tent out back, and that will be fun. It's a fun time of year, isn't it? The daffodils down here are amazing. If we have snow, that will not be good for the daffodils. But it might actually be better than a heat wave. I don't know. All different types. Okay, so this one is going to take a little bit longer, but what I'm doing is I'm sure it's hard to see, I'm basting under the edge. I'll finish this circle and then I'll see who else is out there. Isn't it amazing what we get done? So literally this will be the 4th square that we're working on. And we've been golfing, we've been to Queensland, that's where we're golfing. We're going to an oyster roast. We're working on with our vintage machines. I have to tell you, you Fibercasters are a creative bunch. Let's see who else is out there. KB says, have fun with Mom. I will. Chris Myers, doing housework, she says. Thanks for keeping me company, treating myself to a cake day tomorrow. Oh, yay. Have a blast. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you find. Hey! Okay, let me keep going here. Yvonne, I'm seeing this. Oh, so she did this. She said hello last week. Happy Easter, she said. And she's enjoying the morning and FiberCast last night. Aw, she says, I missed FiberCast last night. I'm watching it this morning and enjoyed it. Oh, that's good to hear. Happy Easter to you, too. Melissa from Abilene, Texas, hi. Oh, and she and some of the ladies from the church are making quilts for the St. Jude's Hospital. If anyone is listening out there and they have fabric scraps, so that's Melissa Hollis. She's on the last week's FiberCast. She's left that, and you can reply to that. Again, she's in Abilene, Texas. They're making quilts for St. Jude's, and they're looking for fabric scraps. Thanks for letting us know. The word is out. Sandy. Oh, this is funny. Sandy says, yep, the iPad. Remember last week we were talking about the iPad and the Freshman 15 or the iPad 15? Sandy says, I named mine Buddy. It's addictive. Buddy goes everywhere with me. I even gave my desktop to one of my grandsons. Buddy is all I need, she says, and I do enjoy FiberCast. That's funny, Sandy. Oh, and there you are. P.S. Oh, so now I'm reading my mail backwards. I'm going all around here. Let's see. Did Sandy send us something else? Oh, she did. Sandy, she says, just wanted to say hi. I'm working on my youngest grandson's birthday I Spy quilt while watching FiberCast. It's downloading now. Oh, that's great. Oh, look at those. Fun. So you're cutting out, probably fussy cutting a little bit here and there, right? Everyone, the I Spy quilt is a fun thing helps kids go to sleep. You put all of these different novelty fabrics in the quilt, and then at night, when you're doing the bedtime reading, you can look down and see, what do you spy? Do you spy a bug? Do you spy an astronaut? Do you spy a rocket ship? I spy a pi symbol here for the scientist in us. Sandy, that's great. And she says, enjoy your evening, everyone. And then she says, P.S. I'm using the double sliced pattern for Andrew's I Spy quilt. He chose the layer cake. Ah, thank you. So it's called double sliced pattern for Andrew's I Spy. And she sent it from her iPad, by the way. Hi to Buddy. Buddy the iPad. That could be our mascot, you know. The iPad. Oh, hey, Apple's turned 40 today. That's amazing. Carol Bell, hi. She says, hope you and all the Fibercasters had a good Easter. Yes, I know I did. She says, I am currently machine quilting, just a stitch in the ditch, a quilt for my son. Despite being in his 20s, he still likes a boy's quilt with no flowers in sight. Yours, Carol, in Yorkshire, England. I completely understand. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love that. It has buses. Oh, your double-decker red buses. Those are wonderful. I can't say I've ever done those double-deckers in London. I've done them in Paris and had a blast. I was there on a business trip and all by myself. I got a ticket on one of these double-deckers, and you can jump on and off. I would think that's true in every city. I've done it in New York City, too. Go up on that second floor, and oftentimes they'll have the earbuds in, and you can hear the history as you drive through. Highly recommend that in any city you go to. Carol, well, welcome, and thanks for sharing your quilt. He's a lucky son. Lorna, hi, Lorna. She says, I've been looking forward to FiberCast all day. Oh, she says, I've been using my AccuQuilt to cut 8.5-inch blocks, going to make Mountain Majesties using Kaif facet fabric. It should be bright and crazy, just the way I like it. Have a great weekend. Oh, that does sound perfect. Oh, sounds great. Happy Friday. Ding! Maureen in PA, you have a very funny sense of humor. I love it. She says, ding! Hi, Lynn. Have a great show, Maureen in PA. Well, I am so glad so many folks are out there. I hope you're having fun. Spring is coming. I learned something this past week thanks to Jean and my other friends who are in the quilting business and world. Apparently, when most quilters are gardeners, or a lot of them, let's not totally generalize, and apparently when it's time to garden, all us quilters go out for about 3 weeks. It sounds kind of like New Year's Day, you know, anyway, we go out for 3 weeks and we don't buy fabric. Now, when those 3 weeks start probably depends on Mother Nature, but I thought that was very interesting. But it sounds like much like a diet after the first of the year. Yeah, by the 3rd week in January, it's time to go back to old habits. So I should get 4 of these blocks done, basted. That 4 or 3? Maybe I'm. Oh, 2.5. Here. I did notice we're up to 1,411 subscribers to FiberCast. So to all of you who are out there and have subscribed, thank you. Thanks for being a part of a growing community. Tell your friends. Share with one another. We're very lucky. Marquet and Norma, if you're out there, hi. And Norma, I want to tell you that I went to a watercolor painting class this afternoon. And I tried watercolor pencils. Do you ever use those? It literally, you use the pencils and you draw, or you color, and then you dip them with water and they turn into the watercolor paint. I think if you got it down, it's a wonderful way to do it when you're traveling. Anyway, it was fun. There were 5 of us, 6 of us. Getting there. So as a reminder, Jane Stickle made this quilt originally. And the original is down in a museum in Bennington, Vermont. If anyone is around there, go see it, go look at it. And there we go. There. Okay, well this is taking a long time, but we'll get there. Just see how I've basted like 2.5 of them? I still have to do this part. Oh, my goodness. Well, wherever you are, whether you're in Queensland or in England or in New England, the Midwest, the South, the West, New Hampshire, I hope that you get to do something fun this weekend and that you can include something crafty, something fibery, something artsy, something that makes you happy, something colorful. And just go do it, because it's amazing. Even if you just have an hour. Go binge watch something. Oh, and in an effort to, speaking of binge watching, we'll end on this note. There's a study out that says that people really do feel let down when the shows that they binge watch are over. So, as our part not to have that happen, we're just going to keep filming FiberCast for every Friday from here on out, so that we'll never have to experience that sadness of it being over. How's that for a plan? But it is a real thing, apparently. All right, I'm going to finish this up before I sign off, so I can feel accomplished. By now, I know many of you use FiberCast as a sleep aid, so by now you're sound asleep. Sleep well. For those of you who have not yet fallen asleep, when you do, I hope you sleep well. And there. Okay. So, again, K7, rows of sharing. This is reverse applique. Okay. So when it's done, it's kind of the fabric is a little bit busy, but that's okay. It'll be different. So, we have done this April 1st on FiberCast. We have basted K7, Rose of Sharon, Poof, G5, the big tent one, we've put these on. We finished DD's Delight, D8, and we're on our way. So, with that, thank you for joining FiberCast. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you here next Friday night at 8 p.m. to do something together for 60 minutes. Have a good weekend, everyone, and thanks for joining. Bye.